A very good morning, students. Well, we are again back to our online classes after a long gap, and I hope that you all must be well at your home. The chapter which we are going to study today is the flying Sikh Milkha Singh. Right? So we are starting our PT second syllabus. This is the fifth chapter of your literature book. And now you should have your literature book with yourself. I'm going to start the chapter. So you must have heard this name, Milkha Singh. Let us have an introduction. As you can see in your book, Milkha Singh's life and achievements have inspired millions of young Indians. As a schoolboy, Milkha had to walk 10 kilometers to school. That was a big task at that time. Okay. Then, during the dreadful violence of the partition of India, he ran away to Delhi to save his own life. After he joined the army, Milkha started running so that he could make a better life for himself. But finally, Milkha Singh began to run to excel and to win. And this was a triumphant success. So this chapter is all about Milkha Singh. Milkha Singh has been one of the best known athletes and sports icon of India. And you must have also seen the movie Bhag Milkha Bhag. You remember that? Yes. This is the same chapter, or you can say Milkha Singh is the same person which has been described in that movie. And he is known as the flying Sikh. Okay. So this chapter is all about Milkha Singh, his life, and career, and how he, achieved so many achievements in his life in terms of running. Okay, because he was a wonderful athlete, a good runner. Okay, so we are going to start the chapter. Now, first I will read paragraph wise and then I will explain you it. So you can see in your book. Milkha Singh, one of India's best known athletes and sports icons, was born in a Rajput Sikh family in Govindpura village in Punjab in present day Pakistan in 1929. For school, Milkha had to walk 10 kilometers bare feet to reach his school every day, crossing burning sands and wading through 2 canals, balancing his books on his head. Unfortunately, his family was caught up in the violence of the partition of India. Milkha's parents and 3 of his siblings were killed before his eyes during this time. As he lay dying, Milkha's father urged his 15-year-old son to run to save for urged his 15-year-old son to run for his life. A shattered Milkha escaped from his village to a forest nearby, where he spent the entire night. Okay, you can see the next para. So, the entire night. I am here. Early next morning, he boarded a train to Delhi and, with the help of passengers, hid in the women's compartment. After he reached Delhi, Milkha, along with thousands of refugees lived in the Delhi railway station for nearly 3 weeks. He then found out that his sister was still alive through their lost and found announcements made over loudspeaker at the station. He was reunited with his sister and they moved to a refugee camp in Purana Killa. So, this is the first paragraph. Now I am going to explain you it in simple words. Now, as you can see in your book, that Milkha Singh was born in a Rajput Sikh family in Govindpura village, and present day it is in Pakistan. Okay, Govindpura village is in Punjab, which is now in Pakistan, and he was born in 1929. And if we talk about the schooling of Milkha Singh, so what he used to do, he had to walk 10 kilometers barefoot. Means he was not even having any footwear. He had to walk, he had to go to school barefoot to reach his school every day. And he had to cross 2 canals also. Canals is your, जिसको हिंदी में हम कहें नहर, छोटी स्ट्रीम्स या नहर जो हम कह देते हैं, ठीक है हिंदी में. तो कनाल्स को भी पार करना पड़ता था उसको. एंड ही हैड टू टेक अ लॉट ऑफ बर्डन एंड difficulties while reaching to the school. And when it was the time of partition of India, means when India and Pakistan were partitioned, at that time there was severe violence. Okay, and in that violence, unfortunately, Milkha lost his parents and 3 siblings. Siblings is your brothers and sisters, brothers or sisters. So Milkha Singh lost his parents and siblings, 3 of his siblings, in that violence, okay, which was due to partition. And he lost all these family members in front of his eyes. So that was a dreadful moment for him, and it was definitely a difficult time for Milkha Singh. He was just 15 years old and he lost his all family members. And when his father was just going to die, he urged Milkha Singh to run to save his life. He said, "My son, run away, go away from this place if you want to save your life." So there is a word you can say, wading. Wading means walking through water with great effort. Means if you have to move, or if you want to cross any river, so you face some difficulty, so that is wading. And canals, as I have already said you, that man-made waterways. Okay, man-made waterways, नहर जिसे कह देते हैं हम, ठीक है. Urged, you can see the meaning is written here. Urged means advised. And there is also a word, shattered. Shattered here means upset, very upset. So Milkha losing his parents was very upset, and now Milkha escaped from his village to a forest nearby. He ran away from his village and he reached a nearby forest. There he spent the whole night, and next morning what happened? Next morning he took a train to Delhi with the help of some passengers, because some of the passengers were also going to Delhi to save their lives. And he also hid in the women's compartment to save his life, to escape himself. And after reaching Delhi, Milkha, along with thousands of refugees. Now, there is a word refugees. Refugees means people you can see in your book, people who have been forced to leave their country in order to escape war, persecution, or natural disaster. It means that whenever you face any problem of war or persecution, a persecution means here oppression, or you can say ill treatment, harassment, परेशान करना, किसी को ill treat करना या किसी को harass करना ज़बरदस्ती, तो या नेचुरल डिज़ास्टर हो जाए, तो उस सिचुएशन में जब एक देश से दूसरे देश में जो नागरिक होते हैं उनका स्थानांतरण हो जाता है या वो माइग्रेट कर जाते हैं, तो उन पीपल को हम रेफ्यूजीज का नाम दे देते हैं। ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर हमने देखा दैट मिल्खा ऑल्सो रैन अवे फ्रॉम हिज विलेज फ्रॉम पाकिस्तान एंड ही रीच्ड इंडिया, दिल्ली, सो ही वॉज अ रेफ्यूजी फॉर इंडिया। So he stayed there at the Delhi railway station with all the refugees nearly for 3 weeks, and there was a miracle at that time for him that he found his sister, and she was still alive. Fortunately, he found his sister there, and she was still alive, and he met his sister. He was reunited with his sister, and they moved to live in a refugee camp in Purana Killa. So I think this is the you must have understood the explanation up to here. Now I am going to read the next paragraph. Okay, so let's see here what is there in this. However, Milkha was so scared by the mindless violence that he had witnessed that he thought that the only option available to him was to become a dacoit. Fortunately, his brother Malkhan persuaded him to try to join the army. Milkha agreed, but was rejected 3 times. But by this time, Milkha had developed a fierce determination and drive that was to become the hallmark of his life. He motivated himself to try again and was finally selected to join the army in 1952 on his 4th attempt. Milkha Singh joined the army as a technical Jawan at the Electrical Mechanical Engineering Center in Secunderabad. This was a life-changing event as Milkha was selected by the army for special training in athletics. After he finished 6th in a compulsory cross-country run for new recruits. Milkha later acknowledged that before joining the army, he did not know much about running and had never even heard of the Olympics, since he hailed from a remote village. So in the next paragraph, we see here that the violence which Milkha faced and the losing of his parents and his siblings, that was a very difficult time for Milkha Singh, and that had a great impact on his mind. Okay, scared means he was afraid, and witnessed here means he had seen that incident, okay, in front of his eyes. So he was very much scared, afraid, and the situation was that there was no option for him rather to become a dacoit. Okay, सो उसके पास कोई भी ऑप्शन नहीं था, अकेला था, उसकी सिस्टर थी, दे वर लिविंग इन अ रेफ्यूजी कैंप, द सिचुएशन वाज वेरी ग्रिम एंड negative thoughts came in his mind, and he once decided to become a dacoit as well. But unfortunately, his brother Malkhan was the brother of Milkha Singh. Malkhan persuaded him to try to join the army, and his brother Malkhan persuaded means उसको मनाया, कन्विंस किया कि आप आर्मी ज्वाइन करो, यू शुड ट्राई टू ज्वाइन, यू शुड गो फॉर आर्मी, यू शुड गो टू आर्मी. First, Milkha agreed, but he was rejected 3 times. Means whenever he tried for the army or whenever he applied for the army, he was rejected 3 times. But by this time, Milkha had developed a fierce determination and drive that was to become the hallmark of his life. Here it means that whenever he tried 3 times, or when he tried for 3 times but he failed, there he practiced a lot. He developed some strong determination. He practiced running hard, because to join the army, our physical fitness should be very good. We should have a good habit of running, so we have to be very fit, physically fit, to be in army. So although he was unsuccessful in his 3 attempts, but he made himself very tough, very determined. Fierce means here intense, okay, intense or very extremely. So fierce means extremely, okay, very. So he was very much determined, and that was the quality which was to be useful in his future times. Okay, so he motivated himself to try again, and he again tried, and finally he was selected in army on his 4th attempt. और 4th attempt में मिल्खा सिंह का सिलेक्शन हो जाता है आर्मी में in 1952. Okay, so Milkha Singh joined the army as a technical jawan, and his entry was in technical line, okay, at electrical mechanical engineering center, which was in Sikandrabad. So there his training started as a recruit, as a technical jawan, and this was a big moment in his life. Joining the army was a big event, a big turning point in his life, in Milkha's life. He was there, and that he has been a good sports person as well. He developed some strong physical fitness, so he was also selected for the athletes, and there was a cross country run in which he finished 6th. Okay, his place was 6th. So cross country run is a run, you can say a type of marathon, which is conducted outside the city, and it covers a long distance also. So in that meet he finished 6th. Okay, he got 6th position in that run. Later on, Milkha's talent of running was also adjudged, and but he was not aware of the Olympics. Olympics? He was not aware of the Olympics. He was just taking part in some small events, in some sports activities, and but he was not aware of the Olympics, because he hailed from a remote village. Hailed means belong, because he belonged to a remote area. So this is the explanation of the 2nd paragraph, and I think this is very much clear to all of you, right? And my dear students, I urge you to read the chapter again and again, because reading practice is very important. Reading skill is also very important to be developed, because while you read, you should also try to understand the text, what is written in the chapter, in the paragraph. Reading skills also improves your speaking skills. You get to know a lot of words, a lot of vocabs, a lot of sentences, different types of sentences. You see the, sentence formation. You can see parts of speech. Tenses are also there. So you can find every part of grammar while reading. So reading, to develop a reading habit, is very important. Okay, so you should read daily once for half an hour. It is very important, and it will be useful in your future also. Okay, so I think for today it is enough for you, and in the next video we will finish this chapter, because this is not too much long. So your task, your homework is to read the chapter once again, up to here, okay, up to this page, and try to understand what is written in the chapter. Okay, although I have explained you everything, but again you should read the chapter and try to develop your own understanding. Okay, it is very important, right? Okay, thank you very much.